Imagine peering into a crystal ball, not for, vague predictions, but for these vividly imagined, technologically grounded visions of our future. That's exactly what we're doing today. Here on the Deep Dive, we're taking a full immersion into an extraordinary collection of insights. It's from AI 2041, 10 Visions for Our Future by Kai-Fu Lee and Chen Qifan. And this isn't just about what could happen. No, it's about what they reckon has a greater than 80% likelihood of coming to pass within the next couple of decades, all based on AI technologies that either exist now or are, maturing really rapidly. We've got Tai-Hu Lee, the AI expert, grounding these visions in, well, realistic technology. And then there's Chen Qifan, the science fiction realist, who just brings them to life with these incredibly compelling narratives. So our mission today is to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge from all 10 of these stories, give you a shortcut sort of to understanding the profound societal shifts AI is already driving and, well, will continue to drive.
Yeah, absolutely. And these stories cover so much ground, from the subtle biases woven into financial algorithms, the things we don't see, to the mind-bending realities of virtual entertainment, which is just exploding. And then there's redefinition of work itself and even entirely new models of happiness. These stories really compel us to question not just how the technology will change, but how we are going to change right along with it. We'll definitely look at the incredible promise, the subtle perils too, and maybe some unexpected opportunities AI presents for all of us, for humanity.
So if you're ready to explore a future that's actually much closer than you might think, a future where AI isn't just in some ivory tower, but deeply embedded in our daily lives, well, buckle up. Okay, let's start unpacking this. Let's dive right into the first story. Our journey begins in this really intricate world, AI and finance, exploring the often unseen shadows that data can cast. It's through a story called The Golden Elephant. This tale introduces us to Nayana. She's a high schooler in India, and she has this, burgeoning crush on Sahej, a new classmate. Sahej is a really compelling character. He carves these intricate masks, sort of blending traditional Indian gods with like contemporary superheroes. Really cool stuff. But here's where the societal context becomes incredibly important. Sahaj comes from what the story calls a vulnerable group, which is a delicate way of referring to Dalits within India's historically rigid caste system. Now, the school, trying to be progressive, attempts to protect his identity by, leaving out his surname. But that very act, ironically, inadvertently makes his background a focal point of gossip among Naimana's classmates. It really highlights how, despite modern laws and intentions, that sort of vestiges of old prejudices still linger, right?
Right. It's striking how quickly something so personal, so sensitive, becomes intertwined with this broader AI landscape. Nyana faces this real dilemma. Her mother is, well, gently pressuring her to share chat social media data with Ganesh Insurance GI, they call it, to get a lower family premium. Nyana had initially resisted another app, Fate Leaf, mainly for privacy reasons, But this tangible financial incentive from GI, well, it makes her reconsider. And this golden elephant of Ganesh Insurance, it isn't just a catchy name. It really represents an almost omnipotent algorithm. It aggressively collects vast amounts of user data, your likes, purchases, friendships, even, bizarrely, your fortune-telling app interactions. And it's constantly training itself to optimize insurance premiums. It's exactly how today's tech giants Google, Amazon, Facebook aggregate our digital footprints, right? From searches, maps, email, YouTube, using millions of features to build these comprehensive, often unseen profiles of every single one of us.
And here's where the narrative really takes a turn, and it gets quite chilling. Nayana decides, okay, fine, I'll grant GI access. The moment she merely thinks about meeting Sahej in person, just considers it, her family's insurance premium immediately ticks up. It's a tiny amount, 0.73 rupees, but still, it's immediate. When she bravely confronts Sahej about this, asks why they can't just be friends, his response is incredibly profound, I thought. He explains that the AI doesn't know caste in the way we think about it. It doesn't have a direct label that says Dalit.
Exactly. It infers it.
It infers status through these complex correlations in user data patterns. Sahej puts it perfectly. No matter how we hide or if we change our surnames, our data is a shadow, and no one can escape their shadow. The core insight here is just, wow, AI's power to infer goes way beyond explicit labels. It means societal biases can get amplified, not because someone programmed them in, but just through pattern recognition. It makes fairness an algorithmic design challenge as much as a human one.
And this brings us right to the core concept of deep learning's transformative role in finance. Deep learning, which famously powered AlphaGo's victory in Go, it represents a monumental AI breakthrough. Unlike our human brains, which often rely on, selective experience and maybe some predefined rules, deep learning algorithms analyze absolutely colossal quantities of data to unearth these subtle, informative combinations that humans, frankly, just cannot grasp. It's a fundamentally different way of thinking. Internet giants like Google and Amazon were the early beneficiaries, obviously. They had massive, automatically labeled data sets directly tied to critical business metrics, clicks, purchases, you name it. That basically turned them into money printing machines. And finance banks, insurance is widely seen as the next low-hanging fruit for AI. Why? Because it similarly contains these vast amounts of high-quality data, all within a single domain, directly linked to clear business outcomes like loan defaults or insurance claims.
So what we're seeing is this dramatic acceleration in the fintech sector. AI-based fintech companies like Lemonade in the US or Waterdrop in China, they're already providing instant approval for insurance policies, for loans, right through mobile apps. And this shift, it translates into tangible benefits for the companies. Think significantly lower default rates, less fraud, and for users too.
Yeah.
You get instantaneous transactions, dramatically reduced operational costs because there are fewer humans involved. It's a fundamental reshaping of how financial services are delivered.
Yeah, it really is. But this technological leap, it definitely casts a long shadow over the ethical considerations, particularly around bias and fairness. As Nayana and Sahij's story showed us so powerfully, the AI inferred Sahij's Dalit status. It wasn't directly coded in. It detected complex correlations in his data that triggered these warning signals to Nayana, or rather to the insurance algorithm, assessing her risk based on association. The outcome was undeniably unfair, even though there was no intentional bias programmed into the system. And these kinds of inferences, even when they're completely unintentional, they carry extremely serious real-world consequences. Just imagine. Imagine these systems being applied to vital areas like hospital admissions. An AI might infer a patient's risk factor based on socioeconomic indicators pulled from, who knows, shopping data. Or in criminal justice, where perceived data correlations could lead to biased sentencing recommendations. The potential for harm is just immense.
These insights really compel us to think about the implications, don't they? Every single click, every digital interaction you have online is essentially a breadcrumb. It's meticulously collected, contributing to this vast data shagger about you. The book does propose several proactive solutions to try and tackle these fairness and bias issues, which is good. First, there's a strong call for much greater transparency. Companies must disclose where and how AI systems are being deployed. No more black boxes, hopefully. Second, AI engineers themselves need ethical training. Maybe something like an adapted Hippocratic oath, recognizing that their design choices embed crucial ethical decisions into products that genuinely impact lives. Third, rigorous testing is absolutely essential, including warnings or even, prohibiting models trained on data with demonstrably unfair demographic coverage. And fourth, the idea of establishing laws that require regular AI audits, much like financial audits, could hold companies accountable for fairness, disclosure, and privacy. But I have to ask, if these AI decisions are based on such complex, multi-layered equations, as you mentioned, how truly explainable can they ever be to a human, let alone to a court or an auditor? Are we just sort of hoping for a black box with slightly better intentions?
That's precisely the heart of the challenge, isn't it? Humans can typically offer a reason for their decisions, often drawing on selective experience or rules of thumb, but deep learning decisions, they're rooted in these incredibly complex equations, maybe involving thousands of features, millions of parameters. It's like a thousand-dimensional equation, simply too intricate for human mind to fully unravel and explain clearly. This inherent opacity, it naturally breeds significant public distrust, and understandably so. Now, there's ongoing research, of course, to make AI more transparent, maybe by summarizing its logic or developing more interpretable algorithms. But it remained a deeply difficult problem. Historically, new technologies often have initial downsides that we eventually mitigate. Think circuit breakers for electricity or antivirus software for computers. But the path to truly responsible AI demands these proactive, multifaceted solutions now. And for you, the listener, it's really about recognizing that your digital footprint isn't just about privacy anymore. It's about how that data might be used to make profoundly impactful, sometimes biased decisions about your life, your opportunities.
That really brings home the idea of our data stratos.
Yeah. Following that discussion of AI's unseen influence on our financial lives through data, it's perhaps even more unsettling to consider how this technology can actively manipulate our perception of reality itself. Let's delve into a world where what you see isn't always what's real. This is Gods Behind the Masks, set in Lagos, Nigeria in 2041. Here, masks aren't just for cultural rituals anymore. They've become essential fashion accessories and, crucially, surveillance avoidance devices for young people navigating this rapidly growing, often unequal urban environment. We meet Annika, described as an itinerant dreamer who is determined to expose Faka, this inspiring avatar revered by many. Annika plans to craft the perfect counterfeit speech designed to reveal Faka's true puppet master.
Right, and the story gives Emeka this pivotal spark from a conversation about the AlphaGo Amuo mask. A friend, Ozioma, vividly recounts how she used this sacred mask to dance against her father's wishes, sort of leveraging the mask's inherent power to embody authority and bypass restrictive social norms. This anecdote, it ignites an idea in Emeka. Stripping off its mask and revealing the hidden puppet master might be the key. That's how he could shatter believers' faith in Faka. His ambitious goal becomes creating a highly sophisticated deepfake that conclusively unmasks Faka as Repo, who is a notorious and a deeply divisive politician.
And by 2041, deep fake technology, or dupe mask as it's called in the story, has achieved this almost uncanny level of realism. You know, early deepfakes often betrayed their artificial nature, right? Blurry images, out-of-sync lips, these subtle cues our brains could pick up. But now, deep mask can effortlessly fool the human eye with just seamless verisimilitude. Now, anti-fake detectors are commonplace, even legally mandated in places like Europe, America, Asia for cybersecurity. But they demand immense computing power. They often slow down videos, which presents a significant challenge for platforms, especially in regions like Nigeria where infrastructure might lag. So Emeka, he starts meticulously with a real video of Repo. He uses AI to carefully sew together Repo's face, lips, eyes, gestures. He leverages XR vision, open source software, fine-tuning parameters, training algorithms on a cloud AI platform with maximum computational power. This whole elaborate, painstaking process is specifically designed to bypass these advanced anti-fake detection systems.
Yeah, and the challenge Emeka faces is truly formidable. Not least because Repo, as a prominent public figure, is protected by an advanced VIP detector. This system employs ultra-high-resolution facial recognition, sophisticated body language analysis, vein recognition, even pulling in medical history data, all funneling into a deep learning AI specifically designed to safeguard public figures from deepfakes. Yet, Emeka believes he can exploit a subtle flaw in this elaborate network. He's aiming to find gaps in its crisscrossing strands of data inputs, his ultimate goal, to create a deepfake that, by peeling back Faka's mask, then Repo's, reveals more masks, layer by layer, extending into infinity. It's meant to symbolize the ultimate pervasive deception. And Emeka's choice, to eliminate a lie by creating another lie, it draws inspiration from Fela Kuti's philosophy of being master of my own destiny. It's quite a justification.
That arms race analogy you mentioned earlier is incredibly vivid. So if the forger network just keeps evolving, does that imply we're always just playing catch up on the detection side? Is there an ultimate winner in this digital cat and mouse game?
That's precisely the core of the challenge, yes. And it means our vigilance just has to be constant. There probably isn't an ultimate winner, just ongoing escalation. But it also highlights the dual nature of this technology, doesn't it? The same adversarial process that perfects deception can also perfect creation, or at least simulation. At their heart, deepfakes are just incredibly sophisticated automatic video editing tools. They can flawlessly replace one person's face, specific hand gestures, voice, body language, gait, even subtle expressions with another's. They ensure smooth, natural connections, replicate nuanced patterns like breathing, pulse. It's uncanny. And modern text-to-speech tools now generate incredibly realistic voices that can be perfectly lip-synced. It's like a digital Frankenstein's monster, but expertly stitched together, almost undetectable. The underlying technology for this is Generative Adversarial Networks, or GANs. Imagine two deep learning neural networks locked in this constant game of cat and mouse. The forger network is constantly trying to generate something indistinguishable from reality, say, a synthesized picture of a dog. The detective network then tries to discern if that picture is real or fake. This creates an endless arms race, where the forger continually improves its output to fool ever more sophisticated detective algorithms. And the key factor here, sheer computational power. Emeka's earlier white vampire video failed because he had minimal computing power. But later, with a powerful computer, he could train a complex GAN that generated not just a face, but hands, gait, gestures, voice, expressions, deceiving even ordinary deepfake detectors. It's like upgrading from a simple shield to, I don't know, advanced camouflage technology.
That's quite a leap in capability. A bit terrifying, actually.
It absolutely is. But the truly remarkable thing about this technology, and something the book touches on, is that GANs aren't solely for deception. They hold immense constructive potential too. These same adversarial networks can be harnessed for incredibly positive tasks, like accurately aging or de-aging photos, meticulously colorizing old black and white movies, enhancing image resolution, or even making animated paintings come to life. In medicine, they can assist in detecting conditions like glaucoma or dramatically accelerate drug discovery by simulating complex molecules. They even have applications in predicting the effects of climate change. So while deepfakes present a significant societal concern, the underlying GAN technology offers a far broader spectrum of potentially beneficial applications for humanity.
This makes us wonder, though, in a world where basically everything digital can potentially be forged, videos, audio, maybe even courtroom evidence, how will you distinguish truth from fabrication? What does this mean for our perception of reality itself? For trust in media,
Yeah.
for the very foundations of our legal systems, it really pushes us to think about digital literacy and the new tools we'll all need to navigate an increasingly manipulated information landscape. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Let's turn our attention now to a story about the profound future of education and highly personalized learning. This one's titled Twin Sparrows. This narrative takes us to Fountainhead Academy, an orphanage in Korea that employs proprietary AI technology specifically designed to help children develop to their fullest potential, a noble goal. We meet twin Korean orphans, Jin-ho, known as Golden Sparrow, and Haijin, known as Silver Sparrow. Their lives were tragically altered when their parents died in a self-driving car crash. And the irony, their father had, against the system's advice, disengaged the autonomous mode just before the crash.
The initial dynamic between the twins is quite telling, isn't it? The affluent Pack family adopts Golden Sparrow. They're drawn to his apparent efficiency and, outward confidence. But they tragically leave behind the more introverted Silver Sparrow. In his solitude, Silver Sparrow retreats into this virtual chrysalis, finding solace with Solaris, his sort of amoeba-like AI partner. Solaris uniquely reflects his personal curiosities and provides this profound sense of security for him. Golden Sparrow, on the other hand, gets Adaman, a much flashier red robot companion. However, despite his adoption into this privileged family, Golden Sparrow quickly encounters significant struggles. He finds real-world investing considerably more challenging than AI simulations. He feels burdened by his adoptive family's high expectations. Their motto is a stark, only the best deserves the best. And internally, he sees himself as an annoying brat compared to his accomplished siblings. Ironically, he finds his own solace in these gamified virtual classrooms and with his AI companion Eva, who provides personalized, consistently encouraging feedback. He needs that validation.
The story then builds to this really deeply poignant conflict. Golden Sparrow, consumed by jealousy when Silver Sparrow wins the Artist of the Future prize for an artwork that beautifully reflects the spiritual ties between the Academy and the child, he maliciously destroys Silver Sparrow's AI companion, Ataman, using a DDoS attack. It's a moment of just childish vindictiveness, but amplified by advanced technology. Really quite dark. Years later, they are reunited as young adults. Silver Sparrow, now guided and supported by Solaris, expresses this profound understanding and forgiveness. He tells Golden Sparrow, "I feel your heartache, not with my mind, but with my heart." Solaris, his unique AI, had taught him empathy, just as Adaman had, in its own way, educated Golden Sparrow, perhaps more in skills than feelings.
This narrative beautifully illustrates the incredible advancements in natural language processing, NLP, and the emergence of these highly sophisticated AI companions. The story showcases AI teachers like Adaman and Solaris who can converse with astonishing fluency in human language. Truly conversational AI. These AI teachers are capable of providing genuinely personalized attention, meticulously fixing pronunciation, practicing complex math problems, assisting in writing nuanced essays, and even bringing historical characters vividly to life in a manner no single human teacher could possibly manage for an entire class. They adapt. They possess the ability to discern individual student needs, dynamically adapting teaching methods and homework assignments based on a student's unique pace and interests. It's truly bespoke education.
And the foundational breakthrough enabling this level of interaction is this concept of self-supervised general NLP.
Great.
Deep learning advancements, particularly Google's groundbreaking transformer model from 2017, allowed AI to effectively teach itself language from massive quantities of natural text data without needing tedious human labeling for every single thing.
Exactly. It's a huge shift.
It develops sophisticated selective memory and attention mechanisms to understand context with remarkable nuance. And this development has led to dramatic improvements, exemplified by powerful models like GPT-3, which people are more familiar with now. GPT-3, for instance, exhibits these wide-ranging capabilities. It can be quickly fine-tuned to specific domains with relatively small amounts of data, much like how Solaris and Adaman were customized for the twins' individual learning styles in the story.
Yes, but for all its capabilities, GPT-3 and models like it also has significant shortcomings. We need to be clear about that. It often doesn't know what it doesn't know, which can lead to fabricating answers or outright fake news. For instance, it might confuse a president with a ruler, or invent facts about historical figures because it's just pattern matching, not truly understanding. It remains weak in areas like causal reasoning, truly abstract thinking, common sense, and genuine intentional creativity. And crucially, having ingested vast amounts of human-generated data from the internet, it inevitably absorbs human biases, prejudices, and even malice. This poses considerable risks for targeted manipulation or just perpetuating societal inequalities. Despite these challenges, though, these language models are experiencing exponential growth. Google, for example, announced a language model with 1.75 trillion parameters, a staggering 9 times larger than GPT-3, merely 7 months after GPT-3's release. This AI has already read more than any human could in millions of lifetimes, and that trend of accelerated capabilities just continues unabated.
That scale of learning is almost unfathomable. It really is. So, what does this truly mean for the future of education as we know it? If AI can do all this, reading, tutoring.
It means a profound shift, a really fundamental one. AI can effectively automate much of the rote, repetitive work in education, delivering lectures, generating exercises, administering examinations, providing personalized tutoring. It can correct errors instantly, answer questions efficiently, 247, assign and grade homework, and individualize the pace of learning for every single student. This liberating automation then frees human teachers to focus on something uniquely, powerfully human: mentorship. They will stimulate critical thinking, foster creativity, cultivate empathy, facilitate teamwork, develop emotional intelligence, instill character and values, and build resilience. Things AI struggles with. Human teachers will become clarifiers for confusion, gentle confronters for complacency, and empathetic comforters for frustration. And as we saw in the story, Mama Kim directs Seon to modify the VPALs to ensure the twins remain connected, highlighting the indispensable human touch in guiding AI's deployment for holistic development. Humans are still directing the AI.
And beyond the traditional classroom setting, what are the broader societal implications of this kind of AI in education?
Well, beyond the classroom, AI promises to significantly lower the cost of basic education, effectively democratizing access to high-quality course content and even top teachers on a global scale. Personalized AI teachers can be delivered at near zero marginal cost, creating what the book calls a symbiotic and flexible new education model. This dramatically improves accessibility, particularly in underserved regions, helping potentially every student realize their full potential in this coming age of AI and fostering a future where foundational knowledge is universally available. Which really makes us wonder, as AI becomes a more sophisticated tutor and companion, what does learning truly mean for you? How will the balance shift between just acquiring knowledge and developing uniquely human qualities like empathy and creativity, both inside and outside the classroom? A powerful thought to consider in our rapidly evolving educational landscape.
From the future of learning, let's move to a story that vividly portrays life in a post-pandemic, highly automated world. We're talking about contactless love. We meet Chen Nan in 2041, Pudong, Shanghai, living in this hyper-connected smart apartment. She suffers from profound nosophobia and intense irrational fear of developing a disease and PTSD stemming from a past COVID-19 superspreader event at her startup job. Pretty traumatic. This has driven her into self-quarantine for 3 agonizing years, relying entirely on contactless delivery services and efficient housekeeping robots for every single aspect of her daily life. Complete isolation.
Yeah, and her isolated existence stands in stark contrast to her long-distance relationship with Garcia, who sounds like a passionate and responsible boyfriend. But she has, out of this deep-seated fear, repeatedly refused to meet him in person.
Duh.
The plot thickens dramatically when Garcia suddenly falls ill in Brazil, his unusual breathing pattern and quickening heart rate subtly detected by her smart pillow of all things. I know. Along with his rapidly worsening medical record, it compels Chen Nan to try and overcome her debilitating phobias and act. However, she needs a biosensor membrane, basically a digital health profile, to access any public services, and she can only obtain it by physically leaving her apartment. Her severe phobia of public transport and a critical lack of a vaccination record prevent her from using the ubiquitous driverless taxis, effectively trapping her in this deeply fearful, impossible situation. She's stuck.
In her desperation, Chen Nan finds this unlikely but crucial ally in Mr. Ma, the visionary founder of Warmwave. It's a mutual aid platform specifically designed for those marginalized by this increasingly digital society. He helps her with a pirate taxi, driven by the conviction that saving lives sometimes means, well, circumventing the rules for those denied mainstream access. A sort of digital underground railroad. And in a clever and crucial twist, a resourceful boy at a VR game arcade devises a camouflage trick for her biosensor membrane, an artificially generated health animation designed to momentarily glitch a machine scanner, just for a few seconds. This provides her a crucial window to sneak into the clinic. Her perilous journey then transforms into this high-stakes escape from police bots, described as unsettling headless mechanical guard dogs relentlessly scanning biosensor membranes in public spaces.
Yeah, quite dystopian. Through this harrowing ordeal, Chen Nan receives Garcia's profound dying wish. Leave the dead-end loop behind and boldly embrace the real world. In a deeply powerful and cathartic moment, she removes her face shield, feeling the freedom of open air on her skin for the first time in years. You can almost feel her relief. Mr. Ma, ever supportive, provides her with special glasses that make her appear as an animated character to the omnipresent smart surveillance cameras, offering a layer of digital anonymity. A clever workaround. She navigates numerous temperature checkpoints at the hospital, eventually finding Garcia, who then reveals his team had analyzed our plan 1,000,000 times to ensure her safety, fully expecting her to eventually leave the apartment. It's a powerful testament, really, to the enduring human connection overriding the isolating forces of technology and fear. Love finds a way, I suppose.
This story powerfully illustrates the enduring impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and its role as an accelerant, really, for the adoption of robotics. The pandemic catalyzed an overnight shift to online work, remote communication, digital learning, virtual entertainment. Everything went online. This, in turn, dramatically increased data collection and significantly expedited automation across almost all sectors. Bill Gates, for example, predicted a future where 50% less business travel and 30% permanent work-from-home arrangements for Americans would become the new norm. We're seeing some of that already. The widespread concern about physical contact, eloquently termed contactless love in the story, created immense opportunities for robotics, a field that was already rapidly reaching maturity anyway. We're talking about R2-D2-like delivery bots, autonomous trays on wheels functioning as robotic waiters, efficient cleaning and disinfection bots, and even sophisticated home robots capable of washing dishes and cooking full meals, not just vacuuming.
Right. By 2041, the prediction is a lifestyle akin to the Jetsons, where fully autonomous door-to-door delivery services are pervasive, and home robots handle a significant portion of mundane household chores. And this vision extends far beyond simple robotic vacuums. Imagine autonomous machines that not only clean and disinfect, but also dry and meticulously organize all your greasy pots and pans without any pre-scraping. That's the dream.
That is the dream.
Or consider automated food processors connected to self-cooking pots that seamlessly take in raw ingredients and produce perfectly cooked dishes tailored to your dietary needs. It's important to note, as the book does, that all these individual technological components exist in some form today. They're projected to be meticulously fine-tuned, integrated, and scaled over the next 2 decades. It's not pure fantasy.
This also highlights the crucial confluence of digital healthcare and AI, which seems poised to usher in a healthcare revolution in the 21st century that could significantly extend human life expectancy. The foundational step is the comprehensive digitization of all existing healthcare data. Patient records, detailed drug efficacy results, data from medical instruments, readings from wearable devices, like that smart pillow, insights from clinical trials, critical infectious disease data, all of it becoming digital.
Creating these truly massive digital databases, which are then perfectly ripe for sophisticated AI applications. AI's capabilities can vastly improve treatment efficacy, enhance doctor evaluation, enable earlier anomaly detection, and significantly bolster disease prevention efforts. It learns from billions of medical cases globally, far more than any human doctor could ever see. And it can personalize treatment plans based on a patient's complete history, medical, family, even DNA. Moreover, AI can continuously keep up with the overwhelming number of new drugs, advanced treatments, and scientific studies performing tasks that are truly well beyond human capabilities. A particularly crucial area is drug discovery. AI is dramatically accelerating this often slow and expensive process by solving the complex protein folding problem, a biological riddle that stumped scientists for 50 years. By rapidly identifying targets on intricate 3D protein structures and generating novel treatment molecules, AI is making drug and vaccine development much faster and more efficient. This ultimately leads to highly individualized treatments, known as precision medicine, and even precision longevity plans, tailored for nutrition, exercise, sleep, medication, potentially increasing human life expectancy by as much as 20 years, the book suggests.
Wow, 20 years is significant.
It is. And for you, the listener, Chen Nan's story vividly demonstrates how profound individual fears can sometimes drive the broader societal adoption of AI, but it also underscores how absolutely critical human connection and empathy remain, even in a high-tech world. It makes us ask, how much convenience and safety are you willing to trade for digital connection, and what truly happens when that delicate balance shifts too far? Where's the line?
That's a powerful question about balance indeed. Our journey into the future continues with My Haunting Idol, which is this fascinating exploration of extended reality, virtual reality, and the, frankly, unsettling concept of digital immortality. We meet Aiko, a devoted superfan of pop idol Hiroshi. She attends a seance following his mysterious death. To her astonishment, Ghost Hiroshi appears, initially speaking through a medium, then manifesting eerily in Aiko's kitchen, emerging from her refrigerator, no less.
Yeah, that's quite an entrance.
And later even at her gym. These aren't supernatural apparitions, of course. They're highly advanced extended reality, or XR, experiences.
Right. And we learned that Hiroshi carried this complex backstory. He deeply struggled with the prepackaged stage persona meticulously crafted for him, feeling more like a commercial product than an authentic person. A common story for idols, perhaps. After he announced his retirement, he even received frightening death threats from enraged fans, ultimately driving him to fake his own death to escape this toxic fandom and desperately reclaim his true identity. It's quite extreme. He later collaborated with Taiyo to establish Vibers, a company innovatively aimed at empowering fans to tell their own stories using this tech. Aiko's persistent investigation gradually leads her to uncover this narrative trick. Hiroshi is not dead. He orchestrated his disappearance. And the game she's been playing is, in fact, an intricate fan detective experience meticulously created by Vibers. She eventually encounters the actual, now middle-aged Hiroshi, who is finally enjoying his newfound freedom and focus on empowering fans through this very technology. It's a twist.
This story dives deep into extended reality XR, which is this all-encompassing umbrella term for virtual reality, VR, augmented reality, AR, and mixed reality, MR. The author describes it poetically as like dreaming with your eyes open, generating an intense psychological experience known as presence by crafting deeply immersive parallel realities. XR is poised to revolutionize virtually every sector, from entertainment and professional training to retail, healthcare, sports, and global travel. Big claims.
And more specifically, the narrative highlights mixed reality, MR, which represents a more advanced form of AR. MR seamlessly integrates virtual and real worlds into a single cohesive hybrid environment. Unlike simpler AR, MR demands a profound understanding of the real world, setting its physical objects, the people within it, to create truly interactive experiences. For example, Hiroshi could appear in the cold, watery mist of the refrigerator, or be depicted gazing into Aiko's eyes, causing her to blush. That requires the system to understand 3D space and human interaction in real time. This level of environmental understanding and interactive realism, while still beyond today's conventional computer vision, is fully anticipated to be feasible by 2041, according to the authors. The story also posits that by 2041, the cumbersome, bulky glasses of today will be replaced by sleek XR contact lenses. Prototypes already exist, apparently.
Contact lenses, wow.
Yeah. Embedding miniature displays and sensors, powered by compact external CPUs, often linked wirelessly to mobile phones. Crucially, invisibility, meaning a natural, unobtrusive form factor, will be paramount for mass market acceptance, overcoming current challenges related to cost, privacy, and regulatory frameworks. Nobody wants to look like a cyborg all the time, maybe.
I'm genuinely captivated and maybe a little unnerved by the concept of digital immortality. How close are we really to something like that, and what are the immediate ethical quandaries that just jump out to you?
It's an incredibly potent idea, isn't it? The ability to generate highly realistic virtual characters using vast amounts of a person's digital data, their unique expressions, distinct voice, characteristic body language, intricate personality profiles. It raises the very real prospect of digital reincarnation. Imagine a virtual version of someone living on indefinitely, interacting with the world long after their physical passing. This brings up profound privacy and moral issues that we're only just beginning to grapple with. If someone utilizes another person's data to generate a virtual character, is it merely a matter of copyright infringement? Or something deeper? What if that virtual character is programmed to say or do something harmful, like slandering another individual or worse? Who then bears the responsibility?
Right, who's liable?
Exactly. Who is accountable when a virtual character misleads people, or, in a more extreme scenario, is used to simulate a crime? We've already observed complex issues with social networks and AI today, and these problems are projected to multiply exponentially with the advent of pervasive XR. Early, thoughtful planning for comprehensive solutions is absolutely crucial. This includes developing new regulatory frameworks, promoting broader digital literacy among the public, and even pioneering new technologies specifically designed to manage and harness these issues responsibly. Extending existing laws offers only a short-term fix. A longer-term, comprehensive array of solutions is desperately needed. The book also briefly touches upon brain-computer interfaces like Elon Musk's Neuralink. While the vision of human amplification through brain probes is certainly intriguing, the authors emphasize that substantial technical challenges like achieving tiny brain coverage without damage, accurately interpreting complex neural signals, safely altering live brains, mean this technology is likely far in the future and highly unlikely to achieve its most ambitious goals by 2041. So maybe less immediate than XR.
That idea of digital personas outliving us and who controls their narrative, it's truly unsettling. And if we give machines that kind of control over simulated people, what happens when actual human lives are at stake? Let's now shift gears to The Holy Driver, which explores the ethical tightrope of autonomous vehicles set in Sri Lanka, imagining a society grappling with this monumental transition. We meet Shamal, a talented young gamer whose anxiety seemingly melts away the moment he enters a simulated racing world. Escapism, maybe? His uncle Junius, a somewhat mysterious figure, recruits him for a cryptic project, hinting at past injuries and Shamal's deceased father's deep love for driving. There's a personal connection.
And Sri Lanka, as depicted in the story, presents an extraordinarily complex and challenging environment for autonomous vehicles. It's not your clean, gridded city. The country features few modern highways, but boasts dense city streets teeming with highly varied traffic cars, bustling tuk-tuks, nimble scooters, even traditional ox carts. Chaos. Beyond the urban centers, rural conditions are often poor, and the landscape is prone to dangerous landslides. In this environment, choosing the correct road isn't just about optimizing travel time, it's quite literally about saving lives. High stakes. Shamal enters a virtual cockpit, a meticulously crafted simulacrum of a Geely Future F8, where an advanced AI named Alice guides him with precise 3D holograms of instructions. The virtual landscape feels familiar but a little different from what you're used to, and the difficulty steadily intensifies with more traffic, unpredictable pedestrians, erratic traffic lights, suddenly blurring the line between game and reality. Shamal experiences this profound state of flow, feeling the car respond like a part of his body.
And these missions Shamal undertakes reveal a truly profound purpose. He is training to become a ghost driver, remotely controlling vehicles during simulated terrorist attacks or natural disasters like a devastating tsunami to connect them to critical emergency networks and save lives. He earns points for each car successfully saved, directly linking his game performance to his family's crucial livelihood. So the game has real consequences.
Right.
Later, Shamal witnesses the reality of L5 autonomous driving in Shenzhen, China. Cars seamlessly part to make way for ambulances, instantly reroute for major events like marathons, all managed by this integrated smart city infrastructure. A stark contrast to Sri Lanka. This glimpse into the future stirs significant concern in his father and Uncle Junius. They worry intensely about leap shock, the widespread job displacement that fully autonomous vehicles will inevitably bring for human drivers.
Understandable.
Uncle Junius, it's revealed, was himself an early ghost driver who retired due to an injury, linking the game directly to very real-world risks and sacrifices.
The story then culminates in a real-world crisis, a devastating terrorist attack at Gangaramaya Temple in Colombo. Shamal, despite initial hesitation and deep fear, bravely volunteers to remotely drive a rescue vehicle, treating it like a game under the urgent guidance of Yang Wan. He expertly maneuvers the vehicle onto a temple jetty, narrowly escaping a bomb blast, powerfully demonstrating the continued critical role of nuanced human reflexes in decision-making, even amidst the most advanced AI. The human element still matters.
That brings us squarely to autonomous vehicle or AV technology itself. Driving is widely regarded as one of the holy grails of AI, precisely because it's incredibly complex. It involves countless subtasks, myriad inputs, highly uncertain environments. It's not straightforward at all. Full AV maturity is optimistically predicted for 2041 in the book, which would be a full 32 years after Google first began its commercial efforts in this space. It's taking time.
It is. It's definitely an evolution, not a revolution. We've seen decades of iterative advancements, from simple automatic emergency braking systems to much more complex driver assistance features we see today. Understanding the levels of autonomy from L0 to L5 is key here. L0 to L3 basically describe human-driven cars augmented with AI tools offering limited, albeit helpful, impact. Think adaptive cruise control. But L4, where the car develops a mind of its own, like an autonomous bus operating on a fixed route, that represents a truly revolutionary step. And L5, the pinnacle, signifies full autonomy. A robotaxi hailed by an app capable of handling all driving tasks in all conditions. That's the ultimate goal. While L0, L3 are now commercial and limited L4 systems are experimental, L5 remains largely elusive today, facing significant challenges, especially in complex environments like Sri Lanka in the story.
Right, and AVs are also fundamentally integrated into a larger smart city infrastructure, aren't they?
Absolutely. Leveraging a dense network of sensors, cloud-based traffic management, real-time communication between vehicles and the infrastructure itself, like V2X communication. This sophisticated ecosystem enables seamless traffic flow and rapid emergency response, as demonstrated by Shenzhen's automated rerouting for events like marathons. The cars talk to the city.
Yet the ascendancy of AVs undeniably ushers in significant ethical and social issues. We touched on it with the leap shock. Millions of truck, taxi, and delivery drivers face the very real threat of job displacement. So how do we fairly balance their livelihoods against the undeniable efficiency and potentially safety benefits that AVs could offer? It's a huge societal question.
It really is.
Yeah.
And another truly critical question arises if an AI system causes a fatality. Can that AI explain its decision-making in a way that is humanly comprehensible and legally and morally justifiable? Explainable AI, as we discussed earlier, remains incredibly difficult because deep learning decisions are rooted in complex mathematical equations, not simple rules. AI inherently lacks common sense, so some of its operational decisions might appear stupid or illogical to human observers. Just as human decisions like driving while tired or distracted or under the influence can seem entirely illogical to an AI focused purely on optimal paths. And is it acceptable for an interim AI to make mistakes that humans wouldn't, even if the overall fatality rates are reduced as the AI improves over time?
Yeah.
Where do we draw that line? Which leads to the fundamental question. Should machines ever make decisions that can harm human lives? If the answer is no, well, that could essentially end the development of fully autonomous vehicles right there.
That's a profound stopping point. And for you, the listener, Shamal's story highlights a future where human reflexes, even amid advanced AI, are still crucial for saving lives in extreme situations. How much control are you willing to cede to an autonomous system, particularly when human lives hang in the balance? And how do we ensure that AI's undeniable benefits don't leave entire professions, and indeed entire communities, permanently behind? This is a societal balance we'll all need to define, and soon. That's a profoundly important balance to strike, yeah, and it raises stakes to an unimaginable level when we consider the next story. Our journey into the future now takes a considerably darker turn with quantum genocide. This story delves into the profound dangers of quantum computing and autonomous weapons. It's intense. This narrative introduces us to Marc Rousseau, a brilliant European computer scientist who becomes, well, unhinged after suffering a horrific personal tragedy. His wife, Anna, and son, Luke, tragically perished in a mega wildfire in California, a disaster severely exacerbated by extreme weather patterns linked to climate change. Mark's overwhelming grief and incandescent rage propel him towards a chilling revenge plot, his singular goal: to wind civilization back to its pre-digital state to allow nature a chance to recover. He's convinced humanity is accelerating blindly towards an irreversible ecological cliff. His targets: global oil infrastructure and space launches, basically the engines of modern industrial society.
Right. And the story opens with this scene of a quantum gold rush unfolding in Iceland. A group of hackers, Robin, Will, Lee, are desperately trying to crack Satoshi Nakamoto's old P2PK Bitcoin wallet. This particular type of wallet is theoretically vulnerable to quantum computers, specifically requiring a quantum computer with about 1 million qubits, a capability that, in theory, didn't exist yet for public use, or so they thought. It's later revealed, spoiler alert, that Marc Rousseau is, in fact, the individual who did successfully crack this Bitcoin wallet using quantum computing. It powerfully demonstrates his advanced capabilities far beyond what these hackers could even imagine. He's operating on a different level.
Mark's initial attacks are nothing short of terrifying. Doomsday drones, which are highly sophisticated AI-enabled autonomous weapons, simultaneously strike the world's 7 major oil routes, iconic choke points like the Strait of Hormuz, the Danish Straits. They suffer unprecedented destruction, paralyzing crucial ports, unleashing widespread hellfire. Chaos ensues. These drones are engineered to be incredibly sophisticated, adept at evading complex air defense systems, and crucially self-destructing completely before any analysis can be made of their design. Untraceable.
Oh.
We're also introduced to the Xavier Serrano, an EC3 agent relentlessly hunting the Vinciguerra Group, a notorious criminal network that abducted his sister. Personal stakes for them, too. Robin, one of the Bitcoin hackers, is linked to Vinciguerra, but offers to aid Xavier in exchange for amnesty, creating this tense, uneasy alliance.
The attacks quickly escalate. We see drones mimicking natural bird flight patterns to evade detection, targeting global elites like Ray Singh, who is developing a cutting-edge marine city at the GSIC conference in Brussels. It's targeted assassination by AI drone. Mark is eventually apprehended and subjected to this grueling interrogation. Xavier even employs a bad trip machine on him, some kind of intense psychological device. Mark, under duress, reveals his accelerationist philosophy. He believes that current anti-terrorism AI systems are myopically focused on quantified people, reducing individuals to data points like age, income, race, and utterly fail to grasp the bigger picture of environmental destruction. A critique of current AI limitations. He argues vehemently that contemporary technological solutions merely create bigger problems in the long run. He sees tech itself as part of the problem.
In a grim and shocking twist, Mark commits suicide by biting a tooth containing a potent neurotoxin. He dies after experiencing visions of Anna and Luke and speaking cryptically about Planck, St. Barbara, and the power of belief, leaving clues behind. Robin, with remarkable intuition, pieces together his dying words and scattered online clues. She uncovers the ultimate devastating threat. Nuclear bombs cunningly disguised as commercial space cargo, poised for launch to create a global electromagnetic pulse, or EMP.
The ultimate reset.
Exactly. This event, if successful, would annihilate the global internet, cause power grids worldwide to collapse, burn out all electronic equipment, and plunge the world into a long night, effectively resetting civilization. Back to pre-digital, the United Nations faces an impossible dilemma: shoot down the rockets, causing potentially massive ground casualties, or permit the catastrophic EMP, destroying global infrastructure. An unthinkable choice.
Robin, however, discerns a crucial third option. She realizes Mark's ultimate goal wasn't total destruction, but rather to forcibly pump the brakes on humanity. A warning, not annihilation. In a selfless act, she sacrifices global internet connectivity by taking down the system herself. The web connecting the world fell apart, she narrates, but humanity is spared from nuclear devastation, left to rebuild a new and better world, hopefully having learned a lesson. A dramatic, ambiguous ending. This conclusion powerfully underscores the extreme stakes of unchecked technological power and the complex, sometimes sacrificial choices required to navigate it.
This incredible, frankly terrifying story brings us face to face with quantum computing, QC. Now, unlike classical computers that rely on bits which are either a 0 or a 1 QCs utilize quantum bits or qubits, these are typically subatomic particles like electrons or photons. The truly remarkable property of qubits is their ability to exist in multiple states simultaneously, this phenomenon known as superposition. Think of it like a coin spinning in the air. It's both heads and tails at the same time until it finally lands. Qubits hold all those possibilities simultaneously.
Right. This unique capability allows multiple qubits to process a vast number of outcomes simultaneously, exponentially reducing the complexity for certain types of computational tasks. Imagine an AI on a classical computer trying to win a complex game by trying moves sequentially in its head, one after another. A QC-powered AI, in contrast, would try all possible moves extremely efficiently, holding uncertainty in its head, as the book puts it. This leads to an exponential reduction in computational complexity for specific problems. Not all problems, but some key ones. The challenges for quantum computing are immense, though. Qubits are incredibly delicate. They require extreme conditions, near-perfect vacuums, supercooling to temperatures colder than deep space to maintain their fragile quantum coherence and minimize decoherence, which is essentially quantum information being lost due to environmental interference. They're very fussy.
Difficult to build and maintain them.
Very. Progress has been slow but steady. from demonstrating 2 qubits in 1998 to around 65 in 2020 when the book was being written. More now, of course. Google famously demonstrated quantum supremacy in 2019, where a 54-qubit QC solved a specific, albeit highly specialized and not immediately useful, problem in minutes that would have theoretically taken classical supercomputers years. A proof of concept. IBM's ambitious roadmap targeted 1,000 qubits by 2023. We're seeing progress towards that. Optimists project truly useful QCs with around 4,000 logical qubits, enough to potentially break Bitcoin encryption within the next 5 to 10 years. Though most experts believe a more realistic timeline is perhaps 10 to 30 years for truly robust, practical quantum machines that can tackle broad problems, it's still a ways off for widespread use.
So the timeline for truly practical quantum computers is still somewhat uncertain, maybe a bit fuzzy, but the potential impact is enormous. What are some of the applications beyond breaking encryption, which seems to be the scary headline?
Oh, the potential applications are absolutely world-changing potentially. Beyond challenging current encryption methods, QC could revolutionize drug discovery by accurately simulating complex molecules and intricate chemical reactions. It could offer new solutions to counter climate change, precisely predict pandemics, invent entirely new materials with unprecedented properties, maybe even help us model our brains with incredible fidelity. As the legendary physicist Richard Feynman famously said, if you want to make a simulation of nature, you better make it quantum mechanical. You need a quantum system to simulate quantum systems. QC could fundamentally transform machine learning, allowing us to solve previously impossible problems that are just beyond the reach of classical computers. In terms of security, yes, quantum computing indeed poses a significant threat to many current encryption methods. Bitcoin security, for instance, relies on asymmetric cryptography, like RSA, which is currently considered unbreakable by classical computers in a reasonable time frame. However, a QC with 4,000 or more logical qubits could, in theory, quickly generate a private key from a public key using Peter Shor's 1994 algorithm. This would potentially allow the theft of bitcoins from older P2PK wallets. This was an early design flaw in Bitcoin where public keys were openly posted. That vulnerability was later addressed, but older accounts might still be susceptible if large-scale QC becomes available, something the crypto world is actively working on, quantum-resistant algorithms.
This story also powerfully illustrates the dangers of AI-enabled autonomous weapons, AWS. The book calls them Prometheus's fire or Pandora's box, disruptive tech used for good or evil.
Exactly. While they might hypothetically save human soldiers' lives in purely machine-on-machine warfare scenarios, the chilling threat of mass or targeted slaughter of humans by machines is, well, overwhelming. The dangers are numerous, as this story highlights. We could see a new, uncontrollable arms race, leading to rapid proliferation. Terrorist groups could acquire and use them for assassinating leaders or targeted genocide, like we saw with the business elites attacked at the conference. They could increase the speed of war and casualties dramatically. AI operates at machine speed. They could lead to disastrous escalations, including nuclear war, because AI inherently lacks the common sense and cross-domain reasoning to fully grasp the catastrophic consequences of its actions. It doesn't understand geopolitics or human irrationality.
And traditional deterrence theory like mutually assured destruction, MAD, it just doesn't apply in the same way, does it?
Not really. A surprise first attack might be untraceable, eliminating the threat of mutual retaliation that underpins MAD. And the very real possibility of non-state actors triggering attacks further exacerbates the danger. It lowers the barrier to entry for mass destruction.
What about solutions, like keeping a human in the loop?
That's often proposed. A human-in-the-loop model where humans retain the ultimate authority for lethal decisions. However, this immediately reduces the speed and precision that gives autonomous weapons their primary military advantage. That makes it an unacceptable concession for any nation engaged in an arms race. They'll want the edge. Moreover, such regulations are incredibly difficult to enforce globally and prone to loopholes. How do you verify compliance?
So for you, the listener, what emerges here is this really disturbing intersection of climate tragedy driving radicalization, advanced AI enabling new forms of violence, and the very fabric of global stability being threatened. Marc Rousseau's extreme vision forces us to confront the deepest ethical dilemmas of AI. If you had to make a choice between global technological collapse and the potential for an AI-driven genocide, what would you choose? An impossible question, really.
Let's hope it remains purely hypothetical.
And crucially, how do we prevent such a choice from ever becoming necessary? How do we manage these powerful technologies responsibly? That's the challenge ahead. Okay, let's shift from the brink of apocalypse to something perhaps more grounded, but equally transformative, the future of work. Let's turn our attention now to The Job Savior, a narrative that directly grapples with the profound implications of AI, automation, and this tumultuous future of work. We're introduced to Jennifer, an occupational restorationist at Sinqia. It's a company funded by government grants and employer severance packages designed specifically to help laid-off workers find new employment in this changing landscape. Her charismatic CEO is Michael Savior, and his name, well, it carries a tremendous weight of expectation in a world facing massive job displacement due to AI.
Yeah, the pressure is immense. A major crisis unfolds with the Landmark project. Landmark, a colossal construction firm, decides to replace thousands of its blue-collar workers with cutting-edge automation, 3D printing, and sophisticated AI designers. A huge disruption. This represents a monumental contract for Sinqia, but they face intense competition from a rival, Omega Alliance. We witness the visceral human cost as thousands of construction workers gathered to protest in San Francisco, their heavy machinery forming barricades, chanting, "Robots, fuck off." You feel their anger and fear. They articulate feeling shoved aside in favor of machines, profoundly disrespected, discarded. Jennifer observes this complex four-way tug-of-war between the government, wanting stability, Landmark wanting efficiency, the restoration companies wanting contracts, and the workers wanting livelihoods and dignity. Deeply conflicting interests all around.
Omega Alliance, the formidable competitor, makes this bold, almost too good to be true promise: 100% occupational reassignment, full stop. Even if the jobs are admittedly shitty, as the book bluntly puts it, this seemingly presents a politically safe and expedient choice for Landmark. Looks good on paper, solves the immediate PR problem. Meanwhile, Michael Savior, the CEO with the Messiah complex name, despite his outward confidence, experiences a crippling anxiety attack. It's triggered by a painful memory. A past failure to find stable, meaningful work for an ex-warehouse manager named Elsa. She tragically lost her new job as a theme park attendant to further automation. It shows the relentless pace of change.
Yeah, it's like whack-a-mole for jobs.
Exactly. He's clearly struggling with the immense pressure of his savior persona and the inherent imperfections, maybe even the futility, of what he's trying to achieve against this technological wave.
Jennifer, driven by a deeper sense of inquiry, maybe some skepticism, embarks on a field investigation. She connects with Matt, a laid-off master plumber, a skilled tradesperson who agrees to wear a hidden camera during Omega Alliance's trial program. Go undercover. What they uncover is truly revealing and quite dystopian in its own way. Workers don VR goggles and haptic gloves to assemble a water heater system. It's a gamified task, complete with virtual rewards and penalties. Looks like retraining. But it's eventually revealed that they're actually providing preliminary plans for end-to-end integration projects in developing countries, remotely controlling robots for fine operations. They're doing piecemeal remote work disguised as a game.
And Matt, the experienced plumber, finds the virtual work ridiculous, lacking common sense. He knows how things really work. Jennifer and Michael quickly realize that Omega Alliance is giving these workers jobs that are effectively glorified VR training simulations, meticulously designed to create artificial value simply to maintain a semblance of dignity and keep them technically employed on paper, rather than generating any real tangible economic output. It's busy work on a grand scale.
It leads to this crucial and philosophical debate between Michael and Allison from Omega Alliance. Allison articulates her position quite compellingly, actually. She argues that this approach is a legitimate way to retain human dignity for those rendered redundant by AI. She offers the blue pill of comforting illusion over the red pill of harsh, undeniable uselessness. Give them something to do, some sense of purpose, even if it's fake.
Like in The Matrix.
Pretty much. Michael, however, vehemently counters that it's a form of fraud, that it fundamentally deprives people of the opportunity to create real, meaningful value, which he sees as essential to human dignity. Ultimately, they reach a great compromise. Sinqia and Omega Alliance decide to partner, jointly undertaking the Landmark project. They aim to combine AI and human expertise in a new, symbiotic method of occupational restoration. Maybe find a middle ground. The story even hints at Sinqia considering the introduction of digital humans, AI-generated, highly realistic, redundant workers, to refine their NLP models and evaluate the performance of human reallocators, which raises unsettling questions about AI itself evaluating human worth and productivity. Who evaluates the evaluators?
Wow. So let's delve into how AI is systematically displacing these jobs. What's the mechanism?
Well, AI's primary advantage lies in its capacity to detect incredibly subtle patterns within vast quantities of data. We saw that with finance. Consider loan underwriting again. A human might evaluate a handful of key financial metrics, But an AI algorithm can instantly consider thousands of variables, public records, purchasing history, maybe even anonymized healthcare data in mere milliseconds. This provides a far more accurate and nuanced risk assessment. And many people, like Nyana in The Golden Elephant, might readily consent to this data usage in exchange for more favorable rates or quicker approvals. Convenience wins. This superior analytical capability readily displaces many routine white-collar roles. Bookkeeping, data entry, insurance underwriters, like Jennifer's father in the story, repetitive cognitive tasks are vulnerable.
And when AI's analytical power is combined with advanced robotics, it also progressively displaces increasingly complex blue-collar work, right? Not just factory floors anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
By 2041, the story suggests basic warehouse pickers who perform highly routine physical tasks are long gone, replaced by automated systems. We see that starting now. Many construction workers find themselves displaced by robots that precisely assemble prefabricated components on site. Even skilled plumbers are being phased out, as human expertise is primarily needed only for older, highly complex systems, while robots efficiently service new buildings with standardized modular components designed for automation. Kai-Fu Lee estimated in his earlier work, AI Superpowers, that approximately 40% of jobs could be largely automated by AI and robotics by 2033. That's just a decade from when the book came out. It's a gradual but relentless process.
How does it happen practically, like overnight?
Not usually overnight. It's often driven by phenomena like robotic process automation, RPA. This is software robots installed on computers that literally watch human workers perform routine tasks on screen, learn the patterns, and eventually take over those tasks. Click here, copy this, paste there. AI can do that. And the COVID-19 pandemic definitely acted as a powerful automation-forcing event, significantly accelerating this trend, driven by the need for increased productivity, cost reduction, and crucially, human safety and distancing.
This profound shift in the workforce naturally brings us to the universal basic income, or UBI, debate. The story touches on its history.
It does. It suggests that while UBI was initially popular, maybe around 2024 to 2028 in this fictional timeline, it led to a host of unintended consequences. The idea was a monthly stipend funded by taxing the ultra-rich. But the story portrays many former workers with basic needs met but lacking purpose or structure, becoming absorbed in immersive VR games, online gambling, drugs, alcohol. A crisis of meaning. It depicts crime rates surging in city centers as corporations relocated, and tragically high suicide rates prompted widespread calls for the repeal of UBI. Social media became consumed by the great debate. The fundamental flaw, as portrayed, was that UBI, in its initial cash handout form, risked being too broad and undirected. Just giving money wasn't enough.
So what are the alternatives?
Well, alternative proposals suggest attaching conditions or tailoring stipends to individual needs. Crucially, emphasizing that job training and reskilling must be an integral component of any support program. It should proactively assist endangered workers in choosing and training for appropriate new professions that are less susceptible to AI displacement. Training has to be core to any UBI-like system for it to work long-term, the book argues.
That makes sense. So if we can't just give everyone money and hope for the best, how do we transform the human workforce in this AI era? How do people adapt?
The book proposes a framework centered on the 3 R's: relearn, recalibrate, and renaissance. Relearn signifies the critical need for continuous education and lifelong learning. You can't just learn one trade and be set for life anymore. Recalibrate involves fundamentally redefining our collective work ethic, our sense of entitlement, and the responsibilities of both corporations and governments in this new economy. What do we owe each other? And Renaissance is about proactively fostering uniquely human-centric skills and talents. The things AI can't easily replicate. We foresee a dramatic increase in human-centric service jobs: nursing, elder care, childcare, mental health support, teaching, coaching, volunteering, mentoring, community building.
Jobs involving empathy and connection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
While often historically undervalued and underpaid, these roles will form the bedrock for the new AI economy, the book suggests. AI will expertly handle the routine, analytical, repetitive tasks, thereby liberating humans to concentrate on warmth, compassion, communication, and emotional intelligence. It could fundamentally transform professions. Doctors might become primarily compassionate caregivers, with AI handling much of the diagnosis. Teachers become mentors, guiding social and emotional learning.
The book categorizes jobs into quadrants based on human versus AI strengths, right? Can you quickly recap that?
Sure, it's a helpful mental model. Quadrant 1, a social and routine, like telemarketers, basic data entry, some adjusters. These are highly susceptible to AI automation. Quadrant 2, social and routine, like maybe classroom teachers doing lectures, doctors doing standard checkups, retail assistants. Here we'll see human plus AI symbiosis. AI handles routine parts, humans handle interaction. Quadrant 3, creative and asocial, like scientists running experiments, graphic designers, programmers. Here, humans are amplified by AI tools. AI generates options, humans curate and create. Quadrant 4, creative and social, like executives developing strategy, diplomats negotiating, complex project managers. This is where humans truly shine, leveraging strategic thinking, empathy, complex social navigation. AI might assist, but humans lead.
That's a useful framework, and it really makes us consider the fundamental human desire for a meaningful livelihood, doesn't it? Not just a paycheck. As AI takes over more and more tasks, how will you, the listener, find purpose and value in your work, or outside of traditional work? And what kind of social contract will truly support individuals through this massive economic and social transformation? It's a future we're all, in some way, responsible for shaping, starting now. Okay, our next deep dive brings us to Isle of Happiness. This is a fascinating, maybe even slightly philosophical exploration of AI, data, and humanity's perennial quest for well-being. Can AI make us happy? We meet Victor, a retired game designer. He receives this intriguing invitation to Al Saida, an artificial island meticulously created by Qatar, where AI boldly promises to optimize human happiness. A bold claim.
A very bold claim. And this isn't just any AI. The island utilizes advanced middleware technology to encrypt and securely lock all personal data. The key idea is that data is accessible by the AI only in service to the individual, with traceable services and content. So, you supposedly know how your data is being used to help you. And transparency is supposedly assured via an open source algorithm, though how verifiable that is remains a question. Victor, both intrigued and maybe a little wary, clicks "I consent." Who wouldn't be curious?
Exactly. And Victor's experience on the island proves to be profoundly personalized, almost disturbingly so. The island's AI far surpasses anything he's encountered before. It intricately tailors the environment to his every mood, even dynamically changing his wallpaper based on his feelings. It suggests unique and engaging running routes based on his preferences, recommends food with an element of delightful surprise, provides timely information precisely when his curiosity is piqued about something he sees. Victor admits to being enormously pleased, despite the unsettling realization that his every sentence, facial expression, and gesture were captured by ubiquitous cameras and sensors, all meticulously relayed to the AI for interpretation, and then fed back into the constantly adapting environment designed to maximize his pleasure or happiness.
He's one of 13 carefully selected guests on this island trial, including renowned celebrities, encryption artists, neurobiologists, mountaineers, poets, and Qatari elite. A diverse group, all experiencing this highly optimized existence, sort of like a luxury lab experiment.
The story soon reveals this compelling philosophical conflict brewing beneath the surface between Princess Akila and Crown Prince Mahdi, the Qatari royals behind the project. Akila harbors this ambitious vision to bring true happiness, what academics call eudaimonic happiness, focusing on growth, meaning authenticity, purpose to the entire world.
So the deeper stuff.
Right. This stands in stark contrast to her brother Mahdi's AI, which concentrates exclusively on hedonic happiness, meaning fleeting pleasure, enjoyment, material wealth, immediate gratification. That's what the other guests seem to be experiencing, lapsing into contented complacency. During an opera performance titled The Man Who Never Laughed Again, which poignantly mirrors Victor's own life story of chasing ephemeral pleasures as a game designer, Akila covertly communicates with Victor through virtual captions displayed only to him, subtly seeking his intellectual assistance, maybe his validation for her approach.
Then things get dramatic. A mutiny erupts, led by the encryption artist who cleverly hacks his robot servant and persuades several other guests to demand immediate release from their contracts. They feel trapped in paradise. Akila, remarkably calm and composed, explains that the island's smart contracts are impervious to tampering. They clicked agree, they're bound. When the mutineers become aggressive and threatening, Akila's defense is both surprising and highly effective. She deploys fixed-wing UAV swarms, drones that deliver precisely targeted electric shocks, incapacitating the mutineers without causing lasting harm. A swift technological suppression.
Bit harsh for Happiness Island.
A little bit. Akila then extends an offer to Victor. She provides him with a unique chance to seek self-actualization by using his game designing skills to improve the Isle of Happiness. She's effectively giving him opportunities for adventure, designing new experiences, self-esteem, using his skills, and relationship building, working with her, aligning with her eudaimonic goals for him, trying to lead him to true happiness.
But the story concludes with Victor making a decisive choice to leave the island. He ultimately realizes he cannot acquire happiness on this island, neither by the AI's definition nor by his own deeply personal understanding. It feels artificial to him. He is tracked by vigilant secubots, but ultimately escapes via a human-driven taxi, notably. A human driver finding himself alone in the vast, unforgiving desert.
Back to basics.
Exactly. Forced to just keep putting one foot ahead of the other. This powerful image symbolizes a return to basic human effort, struggle, and self-reliance, deliberately distancing himself from AI's pervasive, optimizing control. He dreams vividly of his past, finding even once unpleasant memories infinitely sweet, a poignant reflection perhaps on the profound value of authentic, unoptimized, earned human experience, warts and all.
Isle of Happiness squarely presents what the book calls an incredibly complex and tough problem. Can AI truly optimize our happiness? The story's ambiguous outcome strongly suggests that by 2041, while there will undoubtedly be significant progress and impressive prototypes like Alpha-Ada, it remains a profound work in progress, far from a solved problem. We won't just download happiness. The book identifies 4 core challenges here. First, the very definition of happiness itself. It's abstract, deeply subjective, intensely individualistic. What makes me happy isn't what makes you happy. Second, the challenge of measurement. How do we accurately quantify and continuously measure something so intangible and fluid? Heart rate, facial expressions, self-reporting all have flaws. Third, the sheer volume of data required. Building truly powerful happiness-enabling AI necessitates extensive data, including the most personal and intimate forms, thoughts, feelings, biometric responses, which immediately raises huge questions about privacy, storage, security. And fourth, the critical issue of safe storage and trust. How do we identify a trusted entity whose interests are fully aligned with the users it serves? Can we ever truly trust an AI or the corporation behind it with our deepest desires and vulnerabilities?
Those challenges tie so directly into Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which you mentioned earlier. Can you elaborate on that connection between AI, happiness, and Maslow?
Absolutely. According to Maslow's hierarchy, human happiness and fulfillment grow organically, starting from satisfying basic physiological and safety needs at the foundational levels, then progressing upward to belonging and love, then esteem, feeling competent and respected, and ultimately self-actualization, fulfilling one's potential, finding purpose. The story highlights the hedonic treadmill concept, which comes from psychologist Michael Eysenck. This is the idea that relentlessly chasing material wealth or fleeting pleasures, hedonic happiness, doesn't produce sustained contentment. People tend to adapt and eventually return to their baseline level of happiness. More money doesn't always mean more happiness after a certain point.
Right, you just want a bigger boat.
It's exactly. Crown Prince Mahdi's AI, focused intently on this type of pleasure, ultimately failed to provide lasting happiness for the island's guests in the story. They got bored, felt empty. In contrast, eudaimonic happiness, championed by Princess Aquila, centers on personal growth, meaning authenticity, virtue, striving for excellence, goals pursued once basic material needs are met. This is where AI's role could potentially shift, from merely providing pleasure to intelligently tailoring opportunities for purposeful work, engaging challenges, thrilling adventures, meaningful relationship building, all based on individual goals and values, helping people lead the life they want to lead, not just providing distractions. In this view, happiness is an ongoing pursuit, an active process, not a static state AI delivers to you.
That makes perfect sense. But okay, if we need all this incredibly personal data to achieve that kind of eudaimonic happiness, who actually owns that data? And who can we really trust with it? That seems like the million-dollar or maybe trillion-dollar question.
That's a critically important point, yes. And this narrative proposes a radical concept of trusted AI to address data ownership and control. While regulations like GDPR aim to empower individuals to control their own data, right to access, right to delete, simply ripping out all data access can make powerful software stupid and ineffective. The AI needs data to personalize effectively. So the ISLE concept suggests an alternative model, entrusting all our data voluntarily to a trusted AI, the ISLE itself, metaphorically speaking. This AI meticulously safeguards the data, making decisions about external data requests based only on the user's articulated values and preferences. It acts as a personal digital assistant and a staunch protector of your interests.
Like a digital fiduciary.
Yeah, exactly. A fiduciary duty coded into the AI. This approach aims to unify disparate data swamps from different apps and services into a single powerful data ocean controlled by the user via this trusted intermediary. This trusted AI would manage consent granularly, continuously evaluate the trustworthiness of companies requesting data access, and potentially deliver unprecedented personalized benefits while ensuring robust security and privacy. It's envisioned as a new social contract for data. Much like how we entrust physical valuables to banks or digital assets to brokerage firms, the idea is we can entrust our most personal data to an entity whose interests are fully aligned with ours. The book acknowledges this is a grand vision, requiring both an open mind from users and thoughtful experimentation from developers and policymakers. It's not here yet.
So for you, the listener, Alcida offers this potential future where AI actively tries to make you happy, maybe even tries to help you self-actualize. What does happiness truly mean to you? Is it hedonic pleasure or eudaimonic growth? Or both? And how much of your personal data, your thoughts, feelings, location, interactions would you be willing to share with a trusted AI in exchange for a life optimized for your well-being, even if it means blurring the lines of what it means to choose freely versus being subtly guided?
It's a profound trade-off to consider. The allure of optimized happiness versus the value of unguided, authentic experience.
It really forces us to confront our deepest desires and the potential compromises involved. Okay, our final deep dive for today brings us to Dreaming of Plenitude. This story explores post-scarcity economics and entirely new forms of value. What happens when basic needs are met for everyone? We meet Kira, a young caregiver working for Project Dukurpa in Australia. She's visiting Joanna Campbell, an elderly woman grappling with early Alzheimer's. Project Dukurpa, launched in 2036 by the Australian government in this timeline, was a direct response to growing social unrest. Young people were feeling overlooked and robbed of a prosperous future in what was rapidly becoming a post-scarcity world where maybe traditional jobs were disappearing but wealth wasn't being shared.
Right. The project's ambitious goal to take good care of her people, to ensure well-being in this new era. This newly imagined society operates with two distinct complementary currencies, which is fascinating. First, there's the basic life card, or BLC. This isn't a traditional income like UBI cash. It provides universal basic services, credits for essential food, shelter, utilities, transportation, healthcare, basic entertainment, and clothing. It effectively guarantees a comfortable life, meeting those foundational Maslow needs.
Okay, so services, not just cash.
Exactly. Second, there's Moolah. This is a novel virtual currency earned for reputation and respect through service to the community. It grows as a wristband sensor, detects physiological signs associated with emotional well-being, and registers contributions to the community acts of empathy, compassion, caregiving. It's designed to subtly guide people towards valuable service jobs, like the elder care Kira is doing, roles that become crucial as other jobs are automated but might not be valued by traditional markets.
However, the story quickly reveals inherent design flaws in Moolah. Good intentions gone slightly wrong. Despite its noble aim to foster empathy and community spirit, some individuals quickly figure out how to game the system. They see the brilliant colors on their wristband as a new kind of status symbol.
Human nature.
Yep. They start bribing people or faking interactions purely to boost their Moolah scores, finding loopholes in the empathy algorithm. We also learn about Joanna's profound past. She was a dedicated climate change scientist who devoted her entire life to saving the Great Barrier Reef. She researched cutting-edge technologies like autonomous underwater robots for coral planting, biomaterial films to reduce damaging sunlight, genetically engineered zooxanthellae to enhance coral resilience. A life of purpose.
And Kira's initial motivation for caregiving, which was primarily to earn moolah, evolves through her relationship with Joanna into a deeper, more meaningful pursuit of gaining the respect of others, and perhaps self-respect too. A shift from extrinsic to intrinsic motivation. A poignant revelation unfolds when Joanna, through genome sequencing, discovers she is a descendant of Torres Strait Islanders. She'd known, but suppressed it. Her forgetfulness from Alzheimer's had served as a convenient excuse to deny this vital piece of her identity. Until Kira's XR artwork, experienced through advanced glasses, profoundly helped her reconnect to this piece of land, prompting the realization that she must no longer run from her pain or her heritage.
Wow, that's powerful.
It is. This transformative experience leads them to envision a revised version of Project Dukurpa, now dubbed the Dream for Future movement. Kira and Joanna imagine a new version where the BLC, basic services, remains, but crucially, everyone has the explicit right to choose freely how they would like to live, providing truly equal opportunities for self-discovery and actualization, recognizing and encouraging every genuine effort and achievement, not just those that score moolah points. Otherwise, they gravely warn, we are facing a new kind of stolen generation. People provided for materially, but robbed of agency and the chance to pursue their own dreams.
The concept of plenitude, also referred to as abundance or post-scarcity, describes this future phase where, theoretically, all people are entitled to a comfortable life, where the prices of most goods approach zero because production costs plummet, and where traditional work becomes largely optional because AI and automation do most of it.
Developed countries, the book suggests, are moving towards this reality faster than others, potentially creating global inequalities too. Several key drivers contribute to this profound shift towards plenitude. First, an energy revolution. By 2041, much of the world is projected to be powered by near-free solar and wind energy, supported by dramatically cheaper lithium-ion battery storage. Energy becomes almost too cheap to meter.
Making everything else cheaper.
Exactly. This creates superpower, a surplus of excess energy that can be harnessed for non-time sensitive applications, like desalination, making fresh water, advanced waste recycling, atmospheric carbon removal, and accelerating AI drug discovery. Things that are very energy intensive now become feasible. Australia, where the story is set, is positioned as a global leader in this energy transformation.
Second, there's a materials revolution, often termed dematerialization. Physical products are rendered obsolete as their core capabilities are absorbed into software. Think cameras, GPS, music players, all collapsing into the mobile phone.
And synthetic biology is poised to revolutionize the food industry with lab-grown meat, new low-cost food products from fermentation. It's transforming agriculture with vertical farms needing less land and water, engineered bacteria acting as fertilizer. It's completely reshaping industries by creating sustainable rubber, cosmetics, plastics, even using microbes to clean pollutants. And houses, designed by AI and efficiently assembled by robots using prefabricated modules, dramatically reduce housing costs and construction times.
And the third driver,
AI automated production, combining near-free energy, inexpensive and novel materials, and AI-driven automation throughout the supply chain, including autonomous public transportation, ushers in this age of plenitude. The cost of producing and distributing basic goods plummets.
That's a fascinating reevaluation of fundamental economic principles. Traditional economics, from Adam Smith to Karl Marx to John Maynard Keynes, it's always been predicated on the assumption of scarcity, right? Unlimited human wants clashing with limited resources. That's the core problem economics tries to solve. But in a world of plenitude, these foundational theories are fundamentally challenged. What happens to economics when scarcity largely disappears for basic goods? And money, having served for millennia as a store of value, unit of account, medium of exchange, and a powerful status symbol, it cannot simply be eliminated overnight. It's too deeply ingrained in our psychology, our culture, our understanding of Maslow's hierarchy tied to safety, survival, esteem, purpose.
Absolutely. Project Jukurpa, in the story, attempts to reinvent money gradually, adapting it to this new reality. The BLC, Universal Basic Services, directly addresses basic needs by providing tangible services rather than just cash. This avoids some potential pitfalls of UBI, like misuse of funds, as suggested in the earlier story. It guarantees a foundation. Mutha, the non-monetary currency, aims to promote higher-level needs: love, belonging, empathy, compassion through community service. It addresses job displacement by actively guiding people towards human-to-human service roles, rewarding contribution rather than just labor. Advanced privacy computing is mentioned as key to protecting user data in such a system.
But even this carefully designed system faces systemic problems, right? Rooted in human nature.
It seems so. First, potential corporate resistance. Corporations whose business models rely on scarcity might actively try to create artificial scarcity. Think diamonds, luxury fashion, planned obsolescence, even when goods could be abundant, simply to maintain profits and brand value. Second, the ingrained human desire for accumulation and status. The hedonic treadmill and simple human vanity mean people may still seek status through new currencies like moolah, leading to the gaming behavior depicted in the story. We just find new ways to compete.
So this makes us consider Project Jukurpa paints this picture of a society where basic material needs are met, maybe for the first time in history on a mass scale. But new challenges immediately arise in defining purpose, value, and meaning. What would motivate you, the listener, to contribute, to strive, to learn in a world where traditional work is optional and money, as we know it, is no longer the primary driver?
It's a huge question. What gets you out of bed in the morning if not the need to earn a living?
And how do we design systems, economic, social, educational, that truly encourage human flourishing and self-actualization rather than letting us fall into new forms of artificial scarcity, status games, or creating these stolen generations robbed of agency?
That really is the multi-trillion-dollar question for the post-scarcity era, isn't it?
Yeah.
How to engineer not just abundance, but purpose.
Wow. What a journey. We've gone through 10 truly incredible, sometimes unsettling, sometimes hopeful visions of our AI-infused future. From, algorithmic bias creeping into finance and the utterly deceptive power of deepfakes, to AI's transformative role in education and healthcare, the intense ethical tightrope of autonomous vehicles and quantum weapons, and finally, grappling with job displacement, the very definition of happiness, and the profound promise and perils of plenitude.
Yeah, it's quite a spectrum. What clearly emerges from all these narratives, I think, is a stark picture. AI is no longer some distant sci-fi concept. It's here. It's at a pivotal tipping point, rapidly shaping every single facet of our world. These stories serve as this powerful reminder that AI is an omni-use technology, as the book calls it. It's inherently capable of both profound good and serious harm. And the outcome depends entirely on how we choose to design it, how we decide to govern it, and how consciously we integrate it into our lives and societies. The human element, our ethics, our empathy, our creativity, our deliberate choices, remains absolutely paramount in determining the kind of future we build with these powerful tools. AI is a tool, ultimately.
Absolutely. So as we consider these fascinating, plausible scenarios for 2041, it's crucial to remember that the future isn't just something that's happening to us. It's not inevitable. It's actively being built by us right now with every technological advancement we pursue, every policy decision we make, every product we choose to use or not use. So maybe a final thought to leave you with. What aspects of your own life right now are you perhaps unconsciously letting AI shape? Your newsfeed, your shopping habits, your social interactions, and what would it truly mean for you personally to actively imagine and consciously start building your desired future rather than just passively observing it unfold around you?